साफदार वजीर खजाना इस वक्त खिताब कर रहे हैं।
Pakistan's resilient recovery strategy. I would like to express my gratitude to the Administrator, United Nations Development Program, Mr. Ashim Steiner, representative from the World Bank Group, all other multilateral institutions for the support to Pakistan during this most critical time. Thanks are also due to our bilateral partners, friendly countries, NGOs, and civil society organizations. You would have seen in the opening session the scale of recent flood disaster which took place in Pakistan. With the suffering of the people in mind, I would briefly state the narrative of disaster to highlight the plight of the people back home. Ladies and gentlemen, while Pakistan was facing the challenges caused by global adverse developments like Russian-Ukraine war, energy crisis, rising inflation and hiking poverty, Pakistan faced the catastrophe of unprecedented floods in the recent history. Allow me to reiterate the widespread damages caused by the floods in Pakistan. Last year, the heavy monsoon rains, 6 times of the average of the past 30 years, caused huge flooding and devastation, especially in the provinces of Sindh and Balochistan. The damages were extensive, with 33 million people affected, over 1,700 lives lost, 13,000 injuries, millions of women and children becoming vulnerable. A total of over 13,000 kilometers of roads and 440 bridges were destroyed, while 5 million acres of crop were damaged. Over 2 million houses were either damaged or destroyed, and around 1 million livestock was confirmed to have been dead or missing. Ladies and gentlemen, a significant portion of the country remained submerged in water for months, affecting subsequent crop cycle and closing down schools and hospitals and making large portion of the rural hinterland inaccessible. The standing buildings were used as temporary shelters and to provide necessary services. It is estimated that 22,000 schools were affected, leaving 3.5 million students without access to classrooms. This is leading to a learning crisis in the country, and it will take coordinated efforts and resources to rebuild the education system. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the government of Pakistan placed recovery and rehabilitation of the affected people as its most important priority. Through Benazir Income Support Program, rupees 70 billion were dispersed as emergency measure to the flood affectees, families, and till now, 8.17 million flood victims have been given the cash assistance. As a result, 2.7 million families got straight-away cash relief and the other assistance which was immediately required. We are appreciative of the fact that the World Bank promptly announced $1.6 billion assistance for rehabilitation in flood areas and an additional 500 million for building climate resilient Pakistan. You are aware that PDNA estimated economic and physical losses caused by the floods as over $30 billion. According to their calculation, which are jointly conducted by World Bank, UNDP, European Union and Asian Development Bank with the assistance of the Planning Ministry of Pakistan, their calculation of the needs for the rehabilitation and reconstruction work is US dollars $16.3 billion. We have been working to obviously plan this reconstruction and rehabilitation work over the period of 3 years, with at least half of the requirements to be met by Pakistan's own system and assistance. Our GDP, keeping in view of the size of the GDP, we believe that over the next 3 years period for this phase of reconstruction and rehabilitation, we should be able to contribute $8 billion out of the $16.3 billion to carry out this rehabilitation and the reconstruction work. The support from the friendly countries and the multilateral donors will not only help with flood relief and rehabilitation effort, but will also create fiscal space and external debt sustainability for the country, reinforcing its efforts to implement the ongoing IMF program. The climate change has led to devastating spillover impacts on Pakistan. This is a major exogenous shock representing a global public externality. Pakistan contributes less than 1% of greenhouse gas emissions, but yet it has found itself at the center of climate change-induced devastation in the form of catastrophe of the floods last year. Concerns about food security are paramount. Social stability is also a concern amid high energy prices, inflation, and macroeconomic policies. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I want to make it clear that Pakistan remains committed to its international obligations and is on track regarding our macroeconomic fiscal reform agenda, which focuses on increasing our revenues, increasing spending on social sector programs, decreasing expenditure wherever we can moderate, and creating thereby more fiscal space for the reconstruction rehabilitation phase which we have to undertake in the next 3 years. Pakistan is right now facing challenges on account of additional outlays incurred and projected for the flood-related rescue, relief and rehabilitation needs. Existing limited space negatively impacts Pakistan's ability to provide resilience and determination to all those affected by the natural disaster. While appreciating the resilience and determination of the people of Pakistan, it is obvious that they need help and global cooperation, which we are thankful to all those who have been extending and communicating to us. Pakistan is carrying out the fiscal reforms necessary for long-term recovery and sustainability. However, we believe that we urgently need short-term assistance as we navigate through a number of challenges. We hope that our friends, partners and supporters, as always, stand with us by providing the required assistance during this most critical phase of Pakistan. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Pakistan's urgent expectations from this conference is not only merely a commitment of resource for rehabilitation and reconstruction in the short to medium term, but also we are looking forward for on-budget inflows and assistance during the remainder of the current fiscal year, in order to make it possible for the government of Pakistan to continue providing the much-needed relief to the flood affectees of 33 million people in Pakistan. Let me say a few words that, if considered appropriate by our friendly countries, debt swaps and other use of financial instruments tied to reallocation of equivalent domestic budgetary resources would also free up the resources to be spent for this noble purpose. We must remember that we are in this fight against climate-induced disaster together. There is only one world, and we must work together to support each other in times of crisis. Pakistan is extremely grateful for the support of the international community as we strive to recover, rehabilitate and rebuild. At the end, I would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to all those friendly countries, United Nations, World Bank, Asian Development Bank, Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank, Islamic Development Bank, and all other multilateral institutions, NGOs and donors, without whose help we could not have been able to deal with this catastrophe which Pakistan just faced in 2022. I'm extremely grateful to all of you, and thank you for patience listening. God bless you all. Thank you. Very kind.